Hello, awesome people. I hope you're having an amazing day today. Today we're going to be taking a look at some of my favorite Dungeons & Dragons modules. We're going to be looking at numbers 30 through number 21 from this list. For folks, I have my list here and so forth. There was a top 30 modules in Dungeons & Dragons that was done in Dungeons Magazine as an anniversary. I thought it'd be fun for me to look at my own. These are ones that I've run as a Dungeon Master or as a player, or have just read them and think they're really good and think they definitely do some good things. Now, a few caveats here. First of all, none of these are going to be by people outside of TSR, just as a heads up, because I feel like, Judges Guild stuff, I think there are some good stuff there, but, and some other people too. But I feel that overall, I think it needs to be published by TSR in order to make my list. I think that's fair to have everything sort of be equal. I could do a list later on of the best Judges Guild modules, stuff like that. I think it'd be fun. But anyway, this is my list. So all these are either for BECMI, first edition, or second edition. So no third edition or later. Fourth edition, none of that stuff. It's all earlier stuff in a symmetry of that. Some of the ones that you might expect are going to be down really far. Some of the ones you might not expect are going to be up really high. And some of them aren't even going to be on the list at all. So just a heads up. This is my personal list, not a specialized list, just ones that I've run. And I generally like ones that are different, that feel like they're doing something new with a module, genre, or something like that. So let's get started. All right, so the first one is X2, Castle Amber by Tom Moldvay. Now, I don't need to tell people on this list for very long who Tom Moldvay is. He's definitely a big name in module design. He's going to have a lot more to hit, including in the one in this top 10, 30 to 21. He's a great module writer. He loves a lot of pulp era stuff. This one is sort of a reimagining of the Amber world from Clark Ashton Smith's pulp era stuff as another plane of existence. So you are going to be actually traveling through that and so forth. Now, this is definitely a classic, and I will run it if I want to run some Judges Guild stuff we'll talk about later. So I do like this, and it's definitely kind of fun. But one of the reasons why it's way back here, when a lot of people love it so much more, is that it's pretty random at times. Like you'll just roll randomly on a die, and if you roll well, you're going to get bonuses to your stats permanently. Stuff like that. It feels a little random at times. So that's one of the reasons why it's here. But again, it's very random. No spoilers in any of these reviews, just a heads up and a reminder, but you will find out that the self-named castle in the first couple of pages is disappearing, and now you got to go track it down. So that's the fun stuff that's happening, right? And so I have run this myself. I like it, but it has some limitations that prevent it from being the classic that some people really like it to be. So that's Castle Amber, number 30. Number 29, Isle of the Ape by Gary Gygax. This is one for higher level modules, higher characters, and you are going to get transported to an island where a lot of things that you're normally relying on just aren't happening for you. From healing to summonings, other stuff like that. So it's pretty cool. I like it. I like that it is taking a high level and really treating them seriously. Like they're going to have lots of ways of getting around stuff. So a lot of the toys that they normally rely on just aren't working by Gary Gygax. I think he does a clever job there. He's the creator of the game with David Arneson. Good guy. Does a lot of good stuff in the game. And this one is, I think, is the first module that he's going to come across, Isle of the Ape. I think it's definitely a very, very strong entry to it. Again, it is for higher level stuff, so you really do need to have a party. But by that time, they should have a lot of things, a lot of experiences, ways of sort of dealing with the adverse and that sort of thing. So I like it. So that's number 29, Isle of the Ape by Gary Gygax for you folks. Next up is The Rod of Seven Parts by Skip Williams. Now this one is more of a second edition. A take on things, and so it's probably going to be more controversial than the first two, although like Castle Amber might be controversial with how low it is, but it's my list, and I've explained it. But The Rod of Seven Parts basically takes a module that is designed for an artifact that was introduced in the first edition, Rod of Seven Parts, and it's designed for law against the forces of chaos. But chaos tainted it, and so now it has sort of both, if you will, and such. And so now it has some fun stuff on both sides of things. And so now what you got to do is in 7 parts of 7 different modules as a part of this module box set. You are going to put together this and and it levels up, and you get more and more powerful, and you will bring it back more and more often. So you'll sort of seed it, canon pain rather than, which I like. I like its resolution. I like what they add to canon character-wise, and some demons and such on the chaotic side of things. So I like it. I think what it does a legitimate job of treating Law versus Chaos very, very seriously. And I think it does a great job of that. Normally, our modules are more about chaos, rather than Law versus Chaos, they're about good versus evil. This is more about Law versus Chaos. And I like it. I think it does a good job of it. Now, there is a module that will be hitting, that's in my honorable mentions of this, and I'm thinking about maybe doing another one with it, because there are 5. And it would be number 5 that also does Law versus Chaos very, very well too, rather than good versus evil too. I think it definitely does a good job on it too. So we'll talk about that later on if I do that one. But it would be number 35 on this list, and honorable mention number 1 out of 5. All right, so that's the Rod of 7 Parts. Next is the UK series number 1, Beyond the Crystal Cave, and this was done by the UK authors. So there are 3 of them: David J. Brown, Tom Kirby, and Graham Morris are the 3 authors of the UK 1 series. This is great. It definitely introduces you. Now, the UK series are, and some other ones here and there, and some of the other ones are done by the UK office in London, and by TSR. And so they have different sort of concepts, and they also will do things like the Fiend Folio too. So they have different concepts, different ways of constructing characters, and so forth. This is great. One of the things I like it so much is that it actually encourages you to talk rather than fight. And you can actually get through it without actually fighting anything. Loved it so much. I like it. It's more for lower level adventures. It's a good way to get started with stuff. It's more about thinking and talking and role playing your way through it rather than just fighting your way through it. And for an early edition like this one, I think it's brilliantly done. Beyond the Crystal Cave, for you folks. Again, it's by those 3 people. Great stuff. And that's my number 27th module overall. Not number 26. Then we'll hit my top 5. Number 26 is a series, is a sort of remastering of the classic Temple of the Frog by Dave Arneson with David Ritchie in the My Star Universe as DA2 for you folks. So basically what happened is that in his Greymoor stuff, David Arneson created in the early editions of Dungeons and Dragons, in the original edition, he created an adventure called Temple of the Frog. That is the first adventure module. It's part of this expansion set in this, and then also probably the first one that was published in anything, right? So it's very, very impactful. So this is sort of a reimagining of it with his ideas, but then fleshed out by David Ritchie in DA2. Love it. It's a classic. It's great stuff. If you haven't read it, check it out. I think you'll like it a lot. So that's number 26. The last one out of my top 25. I think it's good stuff. I like it lots. It's definitely does some great stuff with the classic. And the classic stands on its own, and a party, and I think they like it too. I also did the follow-up DA3, City of the Gods, but not DA1 or DA4. But they're there too if you want to have the series that has a sort of a tighter grip on going back to the past of my star in this long lost era. Now this is more science fantasy than fantasy. It has some science fiction elements to it too, so it may not be for every adventure, but I do like it. I think it's worth coming pulling out. If you're interested in it, I think it's worth checking out. Temple of the Frog. Number 25 is the series A1 through A4 against the Slave Lords. Scourge and against the Slave Lords series. So A1 was done by David Cook. A2 was done by Tom Moldvay once again, and Harold Johnson. A3 was done by Alec Hemmick, which I don't like as much. And A4, Lawrence Schick. I don't like A4 as much because you're forced to capture, which I don't like it. I don't like when all surprise you're going to get captured no matter what you do or how you act. And so I just don't like that. I prefer to fight it out and that sort of thing. So, but anyway, so your mothers may vary. But I think this is a classic. I guess it's later. I set this in the Sea of Dread in my Star era, going to and coming back from. And I had and I had them all set in islands. In the year in Seal of Dread, and I also had some 1 and 2 in the Isle of Dread, and islands surrounding it on the coast and that sort of thing. Loved it, thought it was great stuff. I think you'll like it too. The idea of going against slaves and trying to take them out is great stuff. Slavery will always rise its head, unfortunately. So I think it's good stuff. It definitely speaks well with this. So then number 24 that was Scourge of the Slave Lords. And then number 23 is the Temple of Elemental Evil for you folks. And this is a classic work by Gary Gygax and Harry Hammeister and so forth. I'm sorry, that's number 24. And I got my numbers off the thing. Temple of Elemental Evil by Gary Gygax and Frank Mincer. He did the first one, the Village of Hamlet, great classic earlier adventure one, to sort of introduce it in the area, and then you go back later on. And you go into a darker aspect of it, and then T3 and T4 definitely will knock it out, and so forth. It's a classic. It's been turned into a video game, Temple of Elemental Evil 2, and I definitely like it lots for you folks. So that's good stuff. That's number 24, and then number 23 is the one. It's by Axe of the Dwarvish Lords. It's also by Skip Williams. It's another remaking and retelling in the second edition of the classics of this one. I think this is a little better than Wrought of Seven Parts because it's more for upper level things. It tells pretty much all of it in one setting, but it's a long setting. I mean, it's going to take like months to get through. You definitely want to get your money's worth. I also love its concept of the bad guy as somebody just who will always escape you because he's just that scared. I like that. I think that's a great way of doing it. I love his class levels. I love the things about it. I love his classics so much. I love his spells, I love his concept, his magic items, everything in this. The monsters, the way that they have his allies, his evil allies work. I love this so much. It's a classic. By Skip Williams. If you haven't checked it out, I think you might enjoy it. So that's number 23 by Accidental Flings. And number 22 is a classic, and I wish it was higher on my list. This is the one of the top 20 I like. Every time I run this, and I run it every campaign, every time I run this, everybody likes it, enjoys it, and talks about being a classic. It's called Dwellers of the Forbidden City by David Cook. Once again, he's reappearing. So this David Cook's been here a few times too, and you'll see Gary Gygax, you'll see Tom Mulvey already twice too. Good stuff. So this is Dwellers of the Forbidden City. The idea here is that you're going to come. I actually said this in my sorry about that. In my Sea of Dread 2, and I had it there. People loved it. Came across it much, and then it was fun stuff. So I think you'll like it too. It's a classic. It's a dungeon dive. It introduces some new races that become classics of Dungeons and Dragons very, very fast. So it's good stuff. The idea of exploring this underworld realm, the map on it, that you can show to players, and really will sort of do some nice world building for them. That's sort of thing. That's number 22, Dwellers of the Forbidden City for you folks. It's a classic. It's on one by David Cook. And the last one is S4, The Lost Caverns, and I'm going to try to pronounce this Tsojcanth. I think that's my guess. I think the T is silent, by Gary Gygax, and so forth. Now this is in the S series, which tells you that it's one of the more competitive ones that was done at tournaments and that sort of thing. It's classic. It's set. The idea is that you are going to be doing some exploring in the Underdark, and it actually comes with a book of support stuff out for this character, for this as well, like new monsters and that sort of thing, as well as some other stuff too. So I like that it took its time and give you a support book in addition to the other stuff too. It's classic, and so I think you'll definitely enjoy that. That's the Lost Caverns of Tsojcanth for you, hitting number 21. So I think you'll enjoy that too. And so there you are. Those are my top 20. My top 30 through number 21 for you folks, and I'm going to go through my top 20 next, my 20 to 11 next, and then my 10 through 1 next. And so once again, those are in order: 30, X2, Castle Amber by Tom Mulvey; 29, WG6, Isle of the 8 by Gary Gygax; number 28, The Wrought of Seven Parts by Skip Williams; number 27, Beyond the Crystal Cave, UK1 by Tom Kirby, and Graham Morris. Number 26, Temple of the Frog, DA2 by David Arneson and David Ritchie. 25, A1 through 4, Scourge of the Slave Lords. And by 24, Temple of Elemental Evil by Gary Gygax and Frank Mincer. 23, The Axe of the Dwarvish Lords by Skip Williams. Number 22, Dwellers of the Forbidden City, I1 by David Cook. And then finally, number 21, S4, The Lost Caverns of Tsojcanth by Gary Gygax for you folks. And then next week, again, we'll turn to this. Have you read this? What did you think about my list? If you enjoyed this list, just let me know about it in the comments below. If you have you liked these, what did you think about it? Just let me know what you thought about my list, and if you think or disagree with them, just go ahead and let me know in the comments below. I'll be happy to talk with you and engage with you further. If you enjoyed this, why not hit the subscribe button, the like button, the bell icon if you're feeling frisky, and also let your friends know about this too, particularly D&D friends, particularly old school ones from first, second, and BECMI in the first 3 editions of the game, or original Dungeons & Dragons too. I'm fine with that too, or 5th edition, whatever. Fine by me. Share it with your folks and let them know what they think. And finally, I want to pause and thank you so much for taking some time out of your day and investing in watching my video, because we all have so many things that are happening right in our lives, and we're pulled in so many different directions. So the fact that you spent this time with me, that's incredibly humbling, and I appreciate it. So once again, have a great day.